4:47 a.m. Sacramento Valley, California. The air still holds the night. 62 degrees. By noon, it will hit 94. Ahead in the darkness, a field stretches across 90 acres. Tomato vines run in long, straight rows, each one planted months ago, engineered to ripen all at once. Not one fruit early, not one fruit late. The whole block ready on the same day. This is not an accident. This is a system. 3 harvesting machines are staged at the field's edge. Diesel engines idle low. Drivers drink coffee from steel thermoses. A field supervisor walks the rows with a flashlight. Checking vine color. Checking soil firmness. He's been doing this for 22 years. He can tell by the smell of the vines whether the fruit is ready. He gives the signal at 5:03. The machines move in. California grows more than 12 million tons of processed tomatoes every single year. Now that number is hard to hold in your mind. 12 million tons. It represents over 95% of all processed tomatoes grown in the United States. Every can of pasta sauce, every bottle of ketchup, every industrial drum of tomato paste shipped to a restaurant kitchen. Almost all of it starts here, in the Sacramento and San Joaquin valleys, and almost all of it is harvested in 10 weeks, late July through early October. That's the window. The fields don't wait. The processing plants don't slow down, and the crews running the equipment don't stop, not until the block is finished. And the trucks are loaded and the field is empty. The pressure is not dramatic. It doesn't arrive with a storm or a headline. It arrives quietly in the daily scheduling calls between growers and plant managers, where every acre is mapped, every machine is assigned, and every harvest hour is accounted for. This is agricultural logistics at industrial scale, and it runs 24 hours a day. A tomato harvester is not a simple machine. It's a self-propelled platform that straddles a single vine row, cuts it at the base, and lifts the entire plant, roots, vines, dirt clumps, and fruit onto a series of shaker belts. The shaking motion separates tomatoes from vines. The fruit moves along the belt. The plant material drops back to the soil. Operators sit elevated above the machine, watching the sorting belt. Workers ride along the sides, called sorters, pulling out damaged fruit, green tomatoes, vine pieces that made it through. They work fast. The belt doesn't stop. At the rear of the harvester, a conveyor arm swings over to a pacing truck running parallel in the adjacent row. The tomatoes, a steady, heavy red stream, pour into the truck bed. The truck is lined with padded walls to reduce bruising. When the truck is full, 25 to 30 tons, it peels away. A second truck moves in without a pause in the harvest line. The harvester never stops. The field supervisor watches the whole sequence from a pickup running the field road. He's tracking pace, checking fruit quality, monitoring how much vine debris is getting through to the truck. He's on the radio every few minutes, to the plant, to the drivers, to the machine operators. At 6:30 a.m., the first loaded truck is already on the highway, running south toward the processing facility. Morning Star, Hunts, Ingomar. These are the names on the processing plants spread across the valley. Some are the size of small factories, some are larger. They run on continuous intake. A loaded truck arrives and pulls onto a scale. Weight is recorded. This is how the grower gets paid. By the ton, adjusted for quality grade. The truck then moves to the dump station where the entire bed tilts and the tomatoes cascade into a water flume, a concrete channel flowing with clean water that carries fruit gently into the facility. Inside, the tomatoes are sorted again by size, color, a firmness. Defects are removed. The good fruit moves into washing, crushing, cooking, evaporation, or direct canning, depending on the product line. A single large plant can process 10,000 tons of tomatoes per day. Per day. At that rate, trucks must arrive continuously. A gap in the truck relay means fruit sitting in a harvester. Sitting fruit bruises. Bruised fruit lowers grade. Lower grade means lower payment. The system is tight, intentionally. Automation handles the physical separation of fruit from vine. Human hands still manage everything else. The sorters on the harvest machine, the scale operators at the plant, the field mechanics who run alongside the harvesters with tools, ready for a belt jam or a shaker adjustment. And the irrigation crews who finished their season weeks ago, but left behind a precisely timed moisture schedule that conditioned the soil for machine entry. And the drivers. During peak harvest weeks, the rural highways of the Sacramento Valley are thick with tomato trucks. They run routes from field to plant and back, sometimes multiple loads per shift. A driver who knows the roads, knows the timing windows at the plant dump stations, and knows how to nurse a load of ripe fruit over rough pavement. That driver is essential. Some crews travel for the tomatoes. Workers who came up from earlier harvests, stone fruit in the valley foothills, cherries in the north, will stay through October if the work holds. And others have done this specific circuit for a decade or more. A sorter on the harvester belt works a 10-hour shift, standing, moving constantly with the vibration of the machine, pulling debris and off-grade fruit with both hands. The repetition is physically demanding. The skill is in the speed and the judgment, knowing by feel and color whether a tomato goes forward or gets pulled. By mid-morning, the sun is fully up and the field temperature is climbing. 10:18 a.m. One of the 3 harvesters has stopped. A shaker belt has come loose on the left side. The machine operator radios the field mechanic. A truck that was waiting for its load idles at the end of the row. Every minute of downtime is calculated. The plant scheduler has already been notified. Load timing is being adjusted. The mechanic is under the machine in under 3 minutes. He's seen this before. The belt is retensioned and locked. Total downtime, 11 minutes. The harvester moves again. The truck closes in. The fruit stream resumes. Nobody mentions it again. This is the baseline rhythm of harvest season. Not panic, not drama. Problem, response, correction, continuation. The system absorbs it and moves forward. By noon, 42 loaded trucks have left this field alone, and the planting schedule was set months before this day. Tomato transplants went into the ground in stages, different blocks on different dates, so that each block reaches peak ripeness at a different point within the 10-week window. The plant schedulers and the growers coordinate this in advance, and they are managing a harvest queue that spans the entire season before the first machine ever enters a field. Processing plant capacity is finite. Storage for raw tomatoes is minimal. Unlike wheat or corn, a tomato doesn't wait. It must be processed within hours of harvest. And every ton that comes in must flow through the plant and out the other side as product. This is why the 10-week window functions more like a conveyor belt than a calendar. Fields feed into trucks. Trucks feed into plants. Plants produce product continuously. The chain must not break. Heat events complicate the picture. And an unexpected stretch of days above 105 degrees accelerates ripening in the field. Multiple blocks hitting peak at the same time, compressing the harvest queue, pushing plants to handle volume spikes they weren't scheduled for. Rain is its own problem. Wet soil doesn't support machine weight. Your rain event can hold a field for 2 to 3 days. If rain falls across multiple growing areas simultaneously, the queue backs up. Field supervisors watch weather forecasts the way traders watch market feeds. Hourly updates. Small changes in timing can shift an entire harvest schedule by a day or more. 3:44 p.m. The first 90-acre block of the day is finished. The harvester pulls to the field road and stops. As the operator steps down, He stretches his back, pours water over his neck from a jug. The sorters climb down from the belt platform, removing gloves, shaking out their arms. The field behind them is stripped. Red-stained soil, vine debris in the rows. The smell of crushed tomato is thick in the air. A sharp, sweet fermentation smell that clings to clothing and skin. By tomorrow, that smell will be familiar again. The crew reassembles. The machines are fueled. Yes, the convoy moves 3 miles south to the next scheduled block. 102 acres, where the field supervisor has already walked the rows and confirmed soil condition. The sun is dropping toward the western edge of the valley. The light goes gold. The machines roll into the next field. The 10-week window closes sometime in early October. The last fields go quiet. The processing plants scale back and then shut down for maintenance. The trucks that ran the valley highways all summer disperse to other routes, other crops, other states. By the time frost touches the valley floor, the season's tonnage is already counted. 12 million tons, give or take, processed, packaged, distributed, moving through supply chains toward grocery stores, food service distributors, and canneries across the country. The growers file their final yield reports. The plant schedulers close out the intake logs. The mechanics service the harvesters for next year. The fields are bare, tilled under or left to rest. At the furrows that carried the irrigation water all summer are dry now. The soil is quiet. It will be planted again in spring. The cycle doesn't end. It pauses. And when the transplants go in the ground next April, the scheduling calls will start again. 10 weeks mapped out in advance, every block assigned, and every plant running at capacity before the first fruit is ripe. This is how it works. Every year. Under this video, there's a subscribe button. It's a small action, but it helps document the work that happens before the shelves are stocked. If you're drawn to the rhythm of the harvest, to the crews who move with the seasons, subscribing simply means you want to see how America feeds itself. And tell us, where are you watching from? Have you ever worked a harvest? Have you seen one? Share your experience below. That's how these stories travel.